The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. Have you ever felt lost in your own well-made plans? Have you ever cried out, asking why your path is blocked? Why your heart's desires seem to war against God's silence? What if your anxiety is the very map God intends to use? The revelation we are studying today, deep within the wisdom of Proverbs 16, is a sacred covenant. It is the promise of salvation for your scattered thoughts. The great evangelist Billy Graham often reminded the world that our human wisdom is foolishness to God. The cross is the only lens that brings life into focus. But there is a divine code hidden in this chapter, a secret to unlocking not just guidance, but true holiness. This is the sacred path, and its entrance is not where you think. What if the map you have been desperately drawing for your own life is the only thing keeping you from the territory God has already promised you? What if the anxiety that grips your heart in the dead of night, the relentless what-ifs and how-tos, is not an enemy to be defeated, but a signal, a divine alarm, calling you to a completely different way of existing? We live in a world that screams for self-reliance. It demands that we be the architects of our own destiny, the captains of our own souls. We are taught to plan, to strive, to hustle, and to secure our own futures. And so we do. We spend our nights drafting blueprints for our careers, our families, our finances, and our ministries. We present these plans to God in prayer, not truly for His approval, but often for His signature, a cosmic cosigner on a loan we have already taken out in our own name. And then we are shattered when the walls we built with our own hands begin to crumble. We are confounded when the path we so meticulously paved leads to a dead end. We look up to heaven and ask, God, where are you? The Spirit asks us today, where are you? Are you standing in the safety of your own finite understanding? Or are you willing to step into the terrifying, liberating chaos of divine sovereignty? The very first verse of this sacred chapter, Proverbs 16, draws the battle line. To man belong the plans of the heart, but from the Lord comes the proper answer of the tongue. This is the core of the human condition. We have the capacity, the God-given space within our souls, to form desires, to dream, and to prepare. This is not a sin, it is part of our design. The problem lies not in the planning, but in our belief that the outcome depends on our plan. We believe our preparation dictates the answer, but God makes it clear from the very first breath of this teaching. You can prepare your speech, you can rehearse your arguments, you can build your case, but the answer, the true response, the actual result, belongs only to the Lord. How much of your life has been spent in the plans of the heart? How much energy have you expended trying to control the uncontrollable? You see, the sacred path does not begin with a step. It begins with a surrender. It starts when you finally look at the plans in your hand, the plans you have white-knuckled with fear and pride, and you willingly open your fingers. The Bible tells us in verse 9, "In his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord establishes his steps." Notice the separation of duties. Your heart is the engine of what could be. His sovereignty is the establishment of what will be. You are the planner. He is the establisher. You are concerned with the course. He is concerned with your steps. You are looking at the destination, trying to guarantee your arrival. God is focused on the single step you are taking right now, ensuring it aligns with a purpose so much larger than your finite vision can comprehend. This is where true wisdom begins. This is the first step on the sacred path. The world tells you to be wise by gathering more information, by creating better strategies, by minimizing risk. But the sacred text you brought forth gives us the true definition. Study the Bible to be wise. Wisdom is not found in mastering your environment. It is found in mastering the one thing you can control, your submission to the one who controls the environment. It is the conscious choice to stop trusting the flawed, anxious, often self-serving plans of the heart and to start trusting the holy, sovereign, and loving answer of the Lord. It is the moment you stop telling God how big your storm is and start telling your storm how big your God is. This is the great liberation. It is the exodus from the bondage of what if into the promised land of even if. Even if the plan fails, even if the promotion doesn't come, even if the healing is delayed, He establishes my steps. He is not surprised. He is not panicked. His purpose is not thwarted. The crumbling of your plan may be the very groundbreaking ceremony for His palace. Are you willing to let Him build? This is the crossroads where your soul is weighed. Verse 2 says, "All a man's ways seem pure to him, but motives are weighed by the Lord." We justify our plans. We tell ourselves we are doing it for our family, for the ministry, for God's glory. But the Lord, whose eyes are like a refining fire, bypasses the presentation and weighs the motive. Is this plan born of faith, or is it rooted in fear? Is it an act of service, or is it a monument to your own ego? Are you building a kingdom for God, or are you trying to build your own kingdom and asking God to bless it? The sacred path requires a brutal honesty of the heart, a willingness to be found wanting so that He might fill you. Before you can be saved from your circumstances, you must be saved from yourself. Before you can be holy, you must be made humble. This is the key. Are you ready to hand over the blueprints? If you are ready to stop fighting and start surrendering, if you are ready to let Him be the architect, I want you to join me in making this decree in the comments below. This is not just typing words. It is an act of spiritual warfare, a declaration of your soul's new allegiance. Write it down and believe it. My plans are now yours. I release my grip on my life, my future, and my fears. I decree that my steps are established by the Lord, and I commit my way to Him. My heart will trust, and my soul will be still. He is in control, and it is done. Say it. Write it. Feel the chains break as you do. God is not waiting to respond. He is already moving on your behalf as you declare your trust in Him. And if this message has resonated with your spirit, let this ministry know. Leave your hype for this video, subscribe, like, and share it. If your heart is truly touched, consider becoming a member. Every time you like and share, you strengthen this energy, you help this space grow, and you carry this light to other souls who are trapped in the darkness of their own plans, desperate for His sacred path. So you have made the declaration. You have, in an act of faith, laid your plans upon the altar. A profound sense of peace may be washing over you, but right behind it, a terrifying question begins to echo in the new silence of your heart. What now? It is the paralysis that follows surrender. You have let go of the wheel, but you are still in the driver's seat. You know He establishes your steps, but how do you know which way to step? This is where so many believers falter. They trade the anxiety of control for the anxiety of ambiguity. But the Lord, in His infinite wisdom, does not leave us orphaned in our surrender. He provides the very next instruction, the mechanism for walking this sacred path. It is found in Proverbs 16, verse 3. Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plan. This verse is not a mere suggestion. It is a divine transaction. It is the bridge from the plans of the heart, verse 1, to the established steps, verse 9. But we must be careful. Our human nature, steeped in a transactional world, often misreads this as a formula for success. We think commit means tell God about it, or do it for God, and in return, He will rubber stamp our plans and make them successful. This is the logic of the world dressed in religious language. The original Hebrew word for commit is galal. It literally means to roll. It is the same word used to describe rolling a great stone, something so heavy you cannot possibly move it in your own strength. It implies a complete transfer of the burden. It is the act of rolling the entire weight of your endeavor, your motive, your process, and your outcome onto the shoulders of the Almighty. This is the true test of faith. It's easy to commit our church life to the Lord. But what about your career? What about that difficult business meeting? What about the way you manage your finances? What about the raising of your children? Commit to the Lord whatever you do. He is asking for all of it. He is asking for the mundane and the monumental. He is asking you to roll the daily grind, the stressful commute, the difficult conversation, and the uncertain future onto Him. And look at the promise. It is not, He might establish your plans. It is not He could establish your plans. It is, He will establish your plans. The establishment is not the goal you are trying to achieve. It is the consequence of your commitment. But how do we know if we have truly rolled the stone, or if we are just leaning on it, still trying to nudge it in the direction we want it to go? This is where the purification of motive, which we touched on in verse 2, becomes paramount. All a man's ways seem pure to him, but motives are weighed by the Lord. You cannot galal, you cannot truly roll the stone if your hands are still dirty with pride, ego, and hidden agendas. You will say you are rolling it to him, but you will secretly keep a tether of control just in case he doesn't handle it the way you want. This is why the path to salvation, being saved from our self-destructive nature, is so intertwined with the path to holiness. The charge you brought forth was to believe in it to be saved, follow its precepts to be holy. Believing is the commitment. Following is the purification that makes the commitment real. Verse 6 gives us the very cleansing agent required. Through love and faithfulness, sin is atoned for. Through the fear of the Lord, a man avoids evil. Here is the divine chemistry. Love and faithfulness are not just emotions. They are the active ingredients of your commitment. You roll the stone because you love him more than the outcome. You walk away from the stone because you are faithful to his character, not your own comfort. And what keeps you from running back and grabbing the stone again when you get scared? The fear of the Lord. This is not a cowering terror. It is a profound, soul-shaking awe. It is the reverence that understands he is God and you are not. It is the wisdom that knows his foolishness is wiser than your greatest strategy. This holy fear is the antiseptic that keeps your motives from becoming infected with self. It is the alarm bell that rings when you start to lean on your own understanding. Do you fear him? Do you revere his sovereignty more than you fear failure? This commitment, this rolling, changes you. Look at verse 20. Whoever gives heed to instruction prospers, and blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. Trust is not a one-time decision. It is a moment-by-moment heed to instruction. It is the daily, hourly choice to roll the new anxieties, the new challenges, the new temptations back onto him. And this path produces an incredible result. It produces a wisdom that is not of this world. Verse 16 says, "How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver." The world chases gold, the physical manifestation of our established plans. But the soul on the sacred path, the one who practices the galal, the divine rolling, receives wisdom, the very mind of Christ. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and you start understanding, "What is he doing?" You gain insight. You begin to see the world through his eyes. This is the prosperity that matters. This is the treasure of the sacred path. As we walk this path, having committed our works to the Lord, a new landscape emerges. The frantic energy of self-reliance begins to fade. The anxiety of outcome management begins to lift. But it is in this newfound clarity, this quiet space of trust, that the most ancient and subtle enemy of the soul makes its move. It is the sin that turned an archangel into the devil. It is the poison that infected Eden. It is the spiritual sickness that God himself names as an abomination. It is pride. Proverbs 16 is not just a guide to divine planning. It is a divine warning against the cancer of the human spirit. The Lord, through Solomon, stops us on this path and forces us to confront this beast. Verse 5 is chilling in its clarity. The Lord detests all the proud of heart. Be sure of this. They will not go unpunished. Notice the language. He does not dislike the proud. He detests them. The word signifies a deep, visceral, holy repulsion. Why such a strong reaction? Because pride is the antithesis of the galal, the great rolling we just explored. Pride is the act of rolling the stone back onto ourselves. Pride looks at the established plan, the success, the promotion, the healed relationship, and whispers, "I did this. My wisdom, my planning, my faithfulness made this happen." Pride is the spiritual delusion of self-sufficiency. It is the heart that plans its own course and then demands that the Lord establish its steps, believing it deserves it. It is the ultimate contamination of our motives. It is the poison that makes all our ways, which seem pure to us, an abomination to the one who weighs the heart. The scripture you gave me, follow its precepts to be holy, finds its greatest battleground right here. You cannot be holy and proud. It is an impossibility. Holiness is the state of being set apart for God. Pride is the state of being set apart for self. Billy Graham knew this. He ministered to millions. He advised presidents. He saw global revival. He understood that the platform God gives you is the most dangerous place you can stand, because it is the place most fertile for pride. The sacred path, therefore, must be paved with its antidote. And the antidote is given to us in verses 18 and 19. Pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. Better to be lowly in spirit along with the oppressed than to share plunder with the proud. This is one of the most famous declarations in all of Scripture. And yet, how often do we truly heed its warning? We see the fall, but we are blind to the pride that preceded it. We see the destruction, but we ignore the haughty spirit that built the compromised foundation. This verse is a spiritual law as certain as gravity. If you climb the ladder of pride, you will fall. There is no other outcome. God himself will oppose you because your pride is an attempt to steal his glory. It is a declaration of independence from the very Creator who gave you breath. And so, he gives us the cure, the better way, better to be lowly in spirit. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less. It is the conscious choice to be lowly, to identify with the oppressed, to choose service over status, to prefer obscurity in his will over fame in your own. But how do we cultivate this humility? Does it mean we should have no ambition? Does it mean we should never lead? No. It is about the posture of the heart. The sacred path of holiness requires a constant, active humbling. It is a daily choice. When praise comes, do you inhale it, or do you redirect it to the one who gave you the strength? When criticism comes, do you react in defensive anger, or do you receive it as a potential tool for sanctification? When you succeed, do you build a monument to your success, or do you build an altar for worship? The proud heart uses success to build a higher platform for itself. The humble heart uses success to build a wider table for others. This is why the fear of the Lord, verse 6, is so crucial. The awe of God is the only thing powerful enough to shatter the mirror of pride. When you truly see him in his holiness, you are undone. Like Isaiah, you cry out, "Woe is me! I am ruined, for I am a man of unclean lips, and my eyes have seen the King, the Lord Almighty." In that moment of true seeing, pride cannot coexist. It evaporates like mist in the fire of his presence. This is salvation. It is not just being saved from hell, it is being saved from the very pride that creates hell, a universe centered on self. Are you battling pride today? Are you feeling the destructive pull of your own ego? The path to victory is not to fight the pride, but to flee to the cross. It is to kneel. It is to wash the feet of someone else. It is to choose the low place. For it is only from the valley of humility that you can truly see the majesty of the mountain of God. As we walk this sacred path, having surrendered our plans, committed our works, and embraced the valley of humility, something profound begins to change within us. The focus shifts. The first part of our journey was internal, a wrestling with our own hearts, our motives, and our pride. But God's work is never just in us. It is always through us. The wisdom, salvation, and holiness he cultivates are not for our own private spiritual enjoyment. They are meant to be given away. They must have an expression. And Proverbs 16 makes it clear. The primary expression of a heart aligned with God is the tongue. The chapter that began with the answer of the tongue, verse 1, now circles back to reveal what that answer sounds like when it comes from a heart that is wise, saved, and holy. This is the manifestation of the precept. Follow its precepts to be holy. Holiness has a sound. Look at verse 24. Gracious words are a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. What a powerful image. The world is full of words that are like acid, words that tear down, infect, and corrode. The words of a proud, anxious, self-centered heart are bitter. They carry the taste of fear, jealousy, and control. But the words that flow from a humble heart, a heart that trusts in the Lord, are gracious. They are a honeycomb. They do not just carry information, they carry substance. They are sweet to the soul, bringing encouragement, peace, and comfort to the weary spirit. And they are healing to the bones, bringing physical restoration, calming the anxiety that makes the body sick, and speaking life into situations of despair. Ask yourself, what do your words taste like? When you speak to your spouse, your children, your colleagues, or the stranger in the store, are you leaving them with the sweetness of a honeycomb or the bitterness of judgment? This is not a small matter. This is the very litmus test of your holiness. A heart that has truly studied the Bible to be wise, verse 20, and believed in it to be saved, verse 3, will naturally follow its precepts to be holy, verse 24. The tongue is the overflow of the heart. You cannot fix the tongue without first fixing the heart. But how does this transformation happen? Verse 23 tells us, "The hearts of the wise make their mouths prudent, and their lips promote instruction." Wisdom is the filter. A wise heart, a heart humbled and committed to God, doesn't just blurt out its first reaction. It pauses, it weighs, it considers. Is this true? Is this kind? Is this necessary? Is this healing? This is especially critical for anyone in a position of leadership, and in Christ, we are all called to lead in some capacity. Verses 10, 12, and 13 are a staggering call to integrity. The lips of a king speak as an oracle. Kings detest wrongdoing, for a throne is established through righteousness. When you speak, you are acting as an oracle, a vessel of a kingdom. Are you representing the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of self? Your throne, your place of influence, whether it's in a boardroom or at your kitchen table, is only established, only made secure through righteousness, not through cleverness, not through power, not through intimidation, through righteousness. And verse 13, kings take pleasure in honest lips. They value the one who speaks what is right. Are you a person who speaks what is right even when it's costly? Or do you shade the truth to protect your pride? Do you flatter to gain advantage? The sacred path is a path of uncompromising integrity. It is a path where your yes means yes and your no means no. It is where your words are so aligned with God's truth that they bring healing, not harm. But there is a terrible warning here as well. What happens when we reject this wisdom? What happens when we trust our own words and own path? Verse 25 is perhaps the most terrifying verse in the entire chapter. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end, it leads to death. This is the path of the proud heart. It is the path of the self-reliant planner. It appears right. It makes sense to our human logic. It is the path the world celebrates. But its end is death, spiritual death, relational death, the death of purpose. It is the honeycomb that is secretly filled with poison. This is the choice set before us every single day, in every single conversation. Will we speak the words of life, the gracious words of the honeycomb that flow from a wise and humble heart? Or will we speak the words of the path that seems right, words rooted in our own ego, our own fears, and our own righteousness, which lead only to destruction? The sacred path has a sound. It sounds like grace. It sounds like truth. It sounds like healing. We have journeyed far. We began at the precipice of our own plans, staring into the abyss of our anxiety. We learned to roll the stone of our endeavors onto the shoulders of the Almighty. We confronted the great poison of pride and found the antidote in the valley of humility. We listened for the sound of holiness, the gracious words that flow from a heart made wise by God. And now, we arrive at the end of the chapter, and the Lord brings us to the final, ultimate conclusion. It is the summation of all this wisdom, the capstone on the sacred path. It is the final surrender. Verse 33, the lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord. This is the end of all argument. This is the dissolution of all our what-ifs. The lot was the ancient equivalent of rolling the dice, a way of making a decision when all human wisdom and planning had been exhausted. It was the admission of total human inability. It was the last resort. And even here, in this final act of randomness, God declares his absolute, meticulous, and total sovereignty. You can cast the lot, you can flip the coin, you can try to leave it to chance, but there is no such thing as chance in God's economy. It's every decision, not just the big ones, but every minute detail, is from him. What does this mean for you as you stand at your own crossroads? It means you can stop striving. You can stop frantically trying to figure it out. You can stop replaying your past failures and stop wargaming your future fears. The battle is not yours. The decision is not yours. The outcome has never, not for 1 second, been in your hands. This truth is either the most terrifying news in the world, or it is the most liberating. For the proud heart, it is a cage, a denial of its free will. But for the humble heart, for the soul that is weary from trying to be its own God, this is freedom. It is the permission to finally rest. It is the deep, profound, soul-saturating peace that passes all understanding. Your life is not a series of random accidents. Your suffering is not pointless. Your victories are not mere luck. It is all being woven together by a master weaver, and its every decision is from the Lord. He is working all things, not just the good things, but the broken, painful, and confusing things, together for the good of those who love him. This is the great promise. This is the heart of the gospel. This is the bedrock on which the sacred path is built. This is the final step in your charge. Believe in it to be saved. Salvation is not just a ticket to heaven. It is the daily, active belief that he is in control. It is trusting that his decisions, even the ones that hurt, are rooted in a love so deep and a wisdom so vast that you cannot possibly comprehend it. And so we return to where we began, to that sacred charge. Study the Bible to be wise. Believe in it to be saved. Follow its precepts to be holy. Now we see it not as 3 separate commands, but as one unified, cyclical journey. You study the wisdom of Proverbs 16, and you learn that your plans are finite, and his sovereignty is absolute. Wisdom. This wisdom leads you to stop trusting yourself and to believe in him, committing your works and trusting his decisions. Salvation. This genuine belief, this saving trust, then transforms your heart, draining it of pride and filling it with humility, so that you naturally begin to follow his precepts, and your words become gracious, your actions become righteous, and your life becomes a beacon of his glory, holiness. And this holy life drives you back, hungrier than ever, to study more of his word, seeking deeper wisdom, and the glorious cycle continues. This is the sacred path. It is not a path you find. It is a path you receive. It is not a path you build. It is a path you follow. Today, the Lord is asking you to stop casting your own lots. He is asking you to stop trusting your own way that seems right. He is asking you to hand over the dice. He is asking you to surrender to his perfect, loving, and final decision. The plan is his. The power is his. The steps are his. And the glory forever and ever is his. Will you walk this path? Will you trust him? The decision is from the Lord, and his arms are open wide.